I want to first talk to Khobi Price because Khobi covers the Lakers for the Southern California News Group. He was at the press conference yesterday. And so I guess I'll just start with that, Khobi. I appreciate you coming on the show. Just your initial reaction to JJ's press conference in general, just sort of the tone of it.
Yeah, well, first off, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. But just the general tone of the press conference, maybe this is the tone, but it felt like, he won the day. He won the press conference. He did everything he set out to do with the Lakers set out to do yesterday. And it was very much just a lot of talking about forward thinking, innovation, and how, yes, this JJ hire is unorthodox, but that's kind of what the Lakers are going for, especially in this modern NBA where the CBA is going to require different from teams in terms of how they build out their roster. So the tone was optimistic and hopeful, especially, and that was kind of necessary considering that JJ is not a typical NBA head coach in terms of his resume and what his prior experience. But the general themes and the general mood was just one of optimism, hopeful, and just an eagerness to see how this will all unfold. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Khobi, what was your reaction to the answer he gave that we just played? I know you could hear that where he said he doesn't give an F. What was your thoughts on the language that he used and the way in which he said it?
First off, as soon as he said it, it's weird how this happens. Like in my brain, I just thought I know this is gonna go viral. Like there's no chance that this does not go viral. This will be shared across social media within 10 minutes, and it's gonna be a big hit. Maybe I'm part of. I heard what you were saying. You couldn't believe all these 20 and 30-year-old athletes who are cursing all the time now, dropping the F bomb. Maybe I'm one of them. It kind of didn't phase me that much. I was just like, oh, okay. Well, that's kind of me. I think it also kind of shows his personality. Like, I think sometimes when you're in these press conference modes, they're so buttoned up and they want to get all these things right. But I think there was a level of authenticity from JJ. You really got to feel for his personality and maybe how he'll communicate, which we obviously saw in his podcast and down the line and him being a player for 15 plus years, including college. But I wasn't too much phased by it. I know some people were a little confused by the answer or why he chose to drop the F bomb at that moment. But I think it just showed kind of him in essence. So for me, I was just like, all right, there you go. He said it. And I think even Rob underneath, I don't know if it got picked up by the audio on the mics, but even Rob was like, well, there you go. Yep, there it is.
So, Khobi, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
27.
Okay. Do you think, like, for you and your age group, does that endear JJ to you? Do you think it was cool that he dropped the F-bomb, that it'll now be a 5-second clip that's on TikTok and Instagram Reels and all that stuff? Does that ingratiate JJ with a younger audience?
It probably does. I mean, for me personally, I don't know whether it's cool or not. I'm not offended by it. I'll say that. It doesn't bother me. I can understand why it would bother people, but for me personally, it doesn't bother me. But I definitely think that for a younger audience or people maybe more around like my age group, it is like a cooler, edgier. When you appear to not be as buttoned up, or if you don't like obviously he's wearing a suit and tie, but the symbol of a student tie when you don't appear that way, it does help you probably it does help you with the younger audience. So yeah, I think he probably won some quote unquote cool points with that.
Talking with Khobi Price, who covers the Lakers for the Southern California News Group. So what do you think the plan is now, Khobi, starting with the draft tomorrow night? And I know there's been so much conversation about Bronny James. What do you think that Lakers are going to try to do to give JJ Redick the best chance to have success with this roster?
Yeah, I know we spoke about it obviously during the press conference yesterday. The draft was brought up a little bit, and so Rob was asked about potentially trading for bigger star player or even a couple smaller moves, and Rob acknowledged that if the perfect trade lines up, then obviously it would make a move. But in the modern NBA, especially with I brought it up earlier, the CBA, some of these trades are going to be harder to make, and a big talking point from yesterday was player development, the emphasis they're going to put on player development. So with that, 2 days later, it would be maybe not surprising, but a little bit off the theme of yesterday if they did try to, acquire a bigger player. I would expect for them to, even if they traded up or traded down, I would expect for them to use a first round draft pick on a draft prospect and bring that player in onto their roster. Bronny James obviously is the big talking point, for good reason, for big reason. He would be more so a second round opportunity for the Lakers, more than likely on Thursday. So, and the Lakers don't have their pick until the second round pick until later in the second round. So maybe he's there, maybe he's not. I know there's some other teams who are interested, but if Bronny's there for the Lakers, I believe at 55 in the second round, I would be very surprised if they passed up on him.
Didn't he say he didn't want to play with his dad? Like he wanted to do his own thing? What did he say? I forget.
I can't remember exactly the quote, but I think he said something along the lines of it wasn't something that he necessarily wanted or sought after. I don't think he necessarily said he didn't want it, but I don't think he said that that's something like that wasn't a goal of his, if that makes sense.
Got it. Khobi, really appreciate the time. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, appreciate you having me on.
There he is. Khobi Price covers the Lakers for the Southern California News Group.